What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and today I have the privilege to be joined by two-time 212 Mr Olympia runner-up, Derek Lunsford. Derek, welcome to Desktop Bodybuilding.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I've been watching your show for some time now, and appreciate you hitting me up.
Oh man, it's an absolute pleasure. And like the thing is, you actually messaged me and congratulated me on my work, and I was like, oh my God, man, you've come second in the 212 Olympia twice at a very young age. How old are you now, actually?
I'm 27. But yeah, it's funny. As I was messaging you earlier, I just looked back at that message, and I was like, yeah, credit where credit's due, man. I mean, you're putting out good content, and you got top guys that are coming on your show. I seen Breon was on the last one, I think. You got a lot of good guys coming on your show. So yeah, props to you.
Thanks, bro. Definitely appreciate that. But let's talk more about you and what you've got going on, because you're 7 weeks out of that 212 Olympia, where last year going into it with Flex Lewis removed, you were actually the favorite going in. And, you showed up at prejudging, probably, didn't quite peak properly, came back better at finals, but by then it was probably a little bit too late, obviously. So 7 weeks out of this Olympia, how are you feeling coming into this one compared to the last two preps?
Yeah, so every year is different. Every year is a learning experience. Every year, even if you go into it at the same point, there might be times where you hit the gas faster on purpose, or even your body just responds quicker, or sometimes it's a little slower. So every year is going to be different by a little bit. To be 100% honest, I feel really good. Like in a good way. Like not as in, ooh, I feel like I have tons of energy and like I can just go do whatever. I mean, my routine is literally 24 hours a day. I got like doing this interview is the only time slot I really have throughout the day, because I'm either napping or I'm training or I'm doing something bodybuilding. So yeah, this year has been very smooth. I'm sitting in the house that me and my fiance just purchased together. So that has helped out.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it was just more or less to let you know, like, this has helped me out a lot compared to where I was living last year in a very small apartment. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, routine and things are good.
And we mentioned before as well, we actually started recording that you're actually in Florida. So you've been like a little bit more fortunate than some of the bodybuilders that have been in, for example, New York or California, where they've had their gyms closed, all that sort of stuff. So how's it been in Florida, and how's it been? I suppose you guys can travel around America. So how's that been?
Yeah, so the state of Florida has been more lenient compared to other states throughout the entire COVID quarantine and whatnot. But we were obviously locked down just like the rest of the country for a time period. And there was restrictions, government restrictions and laws put into place. And we had to, fight through that adversity just like everybody else did. But yeah, thankfully now things are, I guess if you could say, getting back to normal, like how they kind of used to be. Masks aren't they're still worn down here and stuff, but people aren't fearing it quite as much anymore. Whether they should or shouldn't, that's not my opinion or nothing I'm trying to say. People are kind of just going back to how they used to before this year.
Yeah, for sure. Now, going back to those previous preps as well, I suppose it's hard to say what went wrong when you came second in the world in the 212. So it's hard to say what went wrong. But I think people were expecting you to come in really shredded, because we saw photos leading up to, I think, the last two Olympias where you were lean quite a ways out. And people have speculated, did you over diet? Did you peak too early? Were you training too hard? Like what do you think, I suppose, quote unquote, went wrong at last year's Olympia where you didn't quite hit your peak properly?
Well, what went wrong would have been me not winning, right? Like that's really, I think, what went wrong. And I don't mean like, oh, like that's what it's all about. But like, yes, you're right. I could have been much better. And like, that's not what I was trying to distract from. Yes, I finally recognized, like, man, like there's a lot of improvements I could have made from last year, So once I really looked at myself and was like, man, prejudging, I could have been much tighter. I thought we brought a great physique, though. That's the thing, was that I was very confused, because I'm like, man, we brought our best compared to the years before, but with holding that extra water, maybe. See, I think that one's at finals. where I was much tighter. But even there, I look at that and I go, man, I'm gonna like, I expect to beat that this year. Like, I want to be better than that. And that's really just my mentality. And it is just like, I just want to keep improving. And that's what I went to this year. Instead of being, getting all hyped up about the competition and wanting to beat everybody and be the, just be the champion, be the winner. It's more about my love for bodybuilding and wanting to literally just sculpt my physique and train hard and push myself, challenge myself in the gym, mentally and physically, building my character. And man, I tell you what, that's what's brought me the most happiness this year, versus trying to get all caught up in the hype of me versus this guy, or I got to beat this guy and I got to win. It's like, look, if I just focus on myself and enjoy bodybuilding and truly, truly love this, which clearly by how I've been progressing the last few weeks, you can see that. That's all I have to do, is just focus on myself and just love this like I did when I very first started. And that's exactly how I feel. And as far as the competition, it's not that I'm not a competitor. It's not that I don't want to win. I absolutely am coming for that title. But my focus has shifted from the competition to my love for bodybuilding.
Yeah, and I think as well, like when you put so much pressure on yourself, sometimes that can be, a stress. And when you're stressing yourself out as well, that can only do negative things to your body. So if you're loving it more and you're, like you said, you're feeling good.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, like, look at this photo here. Like, you're seeing graininess through your chest and through your whole body, really, that like we haven't even perhaps seen on stage exactly from you. So do you feel like it's just been another year in the gym, and the fact that you've had another year to, I suppose, it seems like the graininess sort of comes as, the longer people train. Do you feel like that's the case, or do you feel like you're just doing something different that's, working for you?
It's a combination of things. Yes, definitely. It's another year I've been training hard. I feel like I've manned up this year. I really took a look at myself last year. I'm like, man, the way you were thinking about this, like the competition, the way, just how I was just thinking in my normal life and in my own mentality a year ago versus today is just so much different. I don't know. I'm, like I said, I'm so much happier. I feel like I got my head a little bit more on straight. I'm focusing more on my real life, being my fiance, and my life here in Florida with friends and things like that. And it's not like, look, bodybuilding, man, is I eat, sleep, and breathe this. I absolutely love it. I couldn't live without it. But I think it's a combo of the year of training. I think I'm going back to the old way I used to train, combined with what I've learned from the last couple of years training at MI40, which was a huge help the last few years. So super thankful to be there the last two preps. And I don't know, I just think my routine and everything, I think I just, like I said, manned up. My routine is more on point. I've matured as a bodybuilder. Like, I'm understanding bodybuilding better, like the process, things to do, things not to do. And it's just kind of flowing better now. Every year has gotten better and better and better. And I actually truly feel like, you probably see my face, I actually feel like I like hit the reset button.
That's awesome.
Like, I hit the reset button and I just started bodybuilding again.
That's really cool.
So that's exciting to me. It's like literally like this is year one. Like, everything that I've done so far died, and I'm just like, boom, back to start.
That's
and
awesome.
That's exciting. Yeah.
And you can see it in your face, man. You're smiling when you're saying this.
Oh,
like,
man,
it's really genuine. And I feel like, seeing this side of you, it's like you get more of that, I suppose, genuine excitement out of you, which is actually really cool. And I'm sure the fans love seeing that as well. But I suppose over the past few years, like with the bodybuilding, like pretty much no matter what, when you're a pro and a top pro, people are going to talk crap about you. You've had your sort of like quote unquote rivalries or whatever, where you just talk back and forth. And I sort of like it. I think it's competitive, fun, and I've always liked that. But how have you dealt with, I suppose, the negative people online? Because I've even seen the comments. I'm sure you've seen them as well. How have you dealt with that, and how do you deal with it now compared to, I suppose, how you did a few years ago?
Well, I haven't always, responded the best of ways. I don't think there's anybody that can respond 100%. Like, that was a great answer, unless you're Donald Trump, and then it's like either you love him or you hate him, one or the other. Either he says everything perfect or everybody hates everything. Anyway, nah, man. So yeah, that's a great question. I really like that because that has been something that I've thought about. When I first got into this, even back in high school, when I first got my social media, I was like, look, like you need to make sure that you know, you're not posting crazy like bad stuff, negative stuff, this and that, and it's a very positive thing. So I got into this and I was like, you know, I understand that there's keyboard warriors and that, you know, some of them are just trolls, fake accounts, or whatever, and I don't care. Those people behind the desk can't bother me. Um, until you think that you are winning the Olympia and you come in second and you're like, I don't see what everybody's seeing, and how could I be better? And it's like, okay, lose your ego, dude, and you know, realize that why were you not letting this get to you before, or get to you before, and now it is. Well, maybe it is time to man up, you know. And so that's just what I did. I was like, you know what, why am I concerning myself with what other people are saying and thinking? I started bodybuilding because I love bodybuilding, and I just want to keep improving, like I said. But as far as like how do I deal with negative people and adversity, the two things I probably learned the most this year is patience and being more understanding, which go hand in hand. And
Yeah.
again, it's hard. I mean, patience and understanding is probably two of the hardest things that I think any human can try to instill inside them, you know? So number one, understanding that not everybody lives my life. Not everybody has went through the same things I have, just like I've never went through the things that everybody else has. So for some reason, I guess maybe it was like a small town mentality where I thought everybody thought the same around the world. And, you know, people understood me exactly for who I was, you know, for what I was saying and who I was. And that's when I realized like maybe I'm misunderstood because I'm misunderstanding other people. I'm
Yeah.
not realizing that people think differently than me. And I was like, whoa, okay. So that led into me needing to be more patient and be like, you can't get upset with someone who disagrees with you or has criticism. It's that's constructive for your life. So if you can be more patient, be more understanding of other people, then I don't know. I guess that's been another thing that's been keeping me in positive spirits.
Absolutely, man. And that's a great way to look at it as well, because it's very easy for a fan to say, who cares? Don't worry about what people say or whatever. But when you're the actual person and someone's talking to you, and I really only discovered that myself when I started doing YouTube, because while you might get a bunch of positive comments, you get those few people that will deliberately go out of their way to be negative or send you a message and call you whatever names and stuff. And while most of the time it might not affect you, sometimes you'll get one of those messages when you're not on your best day. And that's why I urge people to be positive and be, you know, kind to other people, but you never know what that person is.
Absolutely. Well, I kind of wanted to go back to what I said earlier about my living situation and stuff. And my mentality last year was like, my living situation was I was in this very small apartment away from my family in Indiana. My fiance has been going to grad school to be a physical therapist. So I've been away from everyone, and I've just literally like been a monk bodybuilder, eat, sleep, train. I was locked into my small apartment where I was in the gym. I was back and forth, back and forth. And it was just like a very lonely, gloomy experience for 2 years of a prep, right? And
Yeah.
I was so stressed and whatnot, and now it's like yeah, man, this year is a world of difference. And just chilling out and relaxing a lot more in terms of, like I said, like the hype and the competition, because it's going to be there. Like people were saying the other day, asked, are you getting excited for the Olympia? And I said, I'm kind of trying not to, but I'm a bodybuilding fan, you know? So,
Yeah.
but like I was said, like now that I have this place with my fiance, it's like I can be more relaxed. And I'm just kind of focusing more on, like I said, my family, like my real life versus like the online life.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting at. It was like my real, like I'm sitting here right now on my couch life, you know, versus like on my phone, like, oh, what's somebody saying? You know, I'm still putting out content. I would love to do more content, by the way. I anticipate a lot more content coming. So
Awesome.
just for now. But yeah, I was just kind of living my life on my phone, on social media. I had nothing else but to be on social media and creating more and more hype, when I realized I just need to be the athlete and go perform. And
Yeah.
when I show up and perform, that is what's going to be exciting for the fans. So I don't need to create hype. Or you know what I mean? Go the extra to create that hype.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously, let's talk about the Olympia. Like, while saying you don't want to think about it, it's, obviously you're on here, you're 7 weeks out. We have to talk about it. Now, Kamal is the man who came in and actually won it last year. He was obviously tight and very, 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 very hard. Now, you've got almost like the opposite physique, where you've got the round, full muscle bellies, and I suppose, like, your structure and your stature on stage is just so imposing and so incredible. So he's sort of the opposite. Now, how do you, I suppose, beat Kamal this year? Is it about bringing slightly tighter conditioning so it's more comparable, or close, and then obviously your shape wins, or how do you do it?
Right. Yeah, so I know you're trying to like throw up this me versus Kamal and everybody, and that's cool and all, and that does create the hype, and that is what we're here to talk about, is the Olympic competition. But once again, man, I haven't really been thinking about anyone specifically. Like, I look at the competition like this. Okay, so you got someone like George Peterson, who has a phenomenal back, huge back, shredded back. Like, that guy's got one of the best backs in the 212 and maybe all the bodybuilding, right? So
Yeah.
I want to do everything I can to match or beat that. Same as anyone's quads or Kamal's dryness and hardness. Like those guys don't like motivate me to go and beat them anymore.
Yep.
It motivates me to go be like them or better. Does that, and I know that might sound the same to someone else, but when I look at someone who has crazy quads or crazy biceps, crazy back, it's like, wow, that's admirable. Like that's why I got started. I'm like, Jay Cutler's back. Holy cow. How do I look like that? How do I look like Phil Heath? Those are the guys I was looking up to, or Flex Lewis. It's like, I want to look like that. And so when I start identifying body parts, I don't want to throw shade at anybody, any competitor, and say, oh, I see you're lagging body parts. But when I know there's something on myself I can improve, I want to go after it. So yeah, the judges said last year that I needed to be more conditioned and drier. So that's the plan, is to be more conditioned and drier. At this stage, I'm up probably 5 to 7 pounds. Same body fat, probably. I would say I'm probably up 5 to 7 pounds of tissue, and I've tried to put that in specific areas. Really, and when I say put that in specific areas, I mean I've really tried to focus my training on specific areas where I could bring out more detail and hardness in those areas. So I hope that answers your question. It's kind of a long way about it.
So that's it for part one of my two-part interview with Derek Lunsford. I hope you guys enjoyed part one, and make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you won't miss out on part two of my two-part interview, and also you won't miss out on any of my 2020 Mr Olympia coverage. And I've got heaps of interviews coming up, including one with last year's Mr Olympia, Brandon Curry, coming very, very soon. And I've also got ones I've done with Breon Ansley, William Bonac, and whatnot as well. So you can go back and check out those ones as well. And if you want to support the channel, head to hostile.com, HOSSTILE.com. Enter ZAVE10, it's XAV10. The link is in the description as well. And you'll save yourself 10% on some of the most amazing supplements in the world, including some apparel as well. I'm wearing the Hostile cap here. You can get yourself all kitted out in Hostile stuff, plus use the supplements. They're absolutely amazing. Just check out the ingredients list. I don't even need to sell them to you guys, to be honest. And you use them as a present as well. You can get your kids a present if they're old enough. You can get your partner a present. You can get your parents a present, whoever, best friend or whatever. Make sure you head there. It's a great present idea as well. So that's it for me. Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. We are out.